Thank you.
Maybe you can provide a little bit of background about where you're coming from.
Sure.
And what we just talked about, the relationship between MasterCard.
Sure. So Mobile Payment Solutions is a joint venture between MasterCard and Smart Hub Inc. out of the Philippines. Mm-hmm. And it's a relationship that was formed about 3 years ago. And it really bringing together the expertise in payments that MasterCard brings to the table and the expertise in mobile money that Smart brings. And the idea behind it is to go out into the marketplace and enable financial inclusion for the underbanked and unbanked population. And we give them the ability to transact using something that is safe and secure. So for example, you can go onto your mobile phone and partnered with a bank and or a telco. You have a MasterCard instrument that is on your digital phone, on your mobile phone, and you can do peer-to-peer transfer, airtime top-up, bill payments, international remittance, domestic remittance, or even merchant payments.
Okay.
And so depending on the countries that we work in and the regulations in those countries, we offer all or some of those services.
Okay. And what kinds of countries do you work in? What's your portfolio right now?
So right now we have deployments in Brazil, Argentina, Peru, India, Indonesia, and Philippines.
Okay.
And Turkey and Egypt. Those are our two big ones actually, so yeah.
Excellent. And what makes you decide to go into a new country? What's the environment there that makes it ripe or ready for mobile payment solutions?
Well, I think the challenge behind mobile payments has been, in 2006 when Safaricom started, everybody saw the success of Safaricom and thought that they could replicate it with M-Pesa. And so there was a whole bunch of people that ran into it and said, we want to get involved in it. And when we look around the market today, we can see that there are very few that have been successful in making mobile payments work. So what we look for is we look for participants that are invested into deploying this because it makes sense for their marketplace. So they understand their market, they understand the consumer's needs and the consumer's wants, and how this will really make a difference in addressing those consumer issues in that marketplace. And so this is about not only bringing in a mobile solution, but this is, ensuring that the solution we bring in facilitates a better lifestyle for that customer as well.
Okay. And when you talk about participants in the ecosystem, who are some of those participants?
So we work with telcos, we work with banks, and we work with non-telcos and non-banks, like we do in Egypt, who have access to merchants, for example, so they can go out and acquire merchants on behalf of their agency, and then consumers who have a wallet from a provider can go into that merchant, make a payment with their MasterCard instrument on their mobile phone, and not have to worry about whether that merchant is on the same provider that they're working with, that they come from.
Okay.
So the whole idea behind it, if you think about MasterCard, is we offer interoperability. Okay, so as a consumer, when you go into a merchant worldwide today, you don't have to worry about who is the acquiring bank or the acquiring institution for that merchant.
Right.
And as a merchant, they don't worry about who issued you your MasterCard instrument, whether it's prepaid, debit, or credit. So you get to purchase something for $10, that's what you pay. And it's about keeping it simple and easy for the consumer to understand, and allowing them to see the convenience of using these instruments, and really bringing it to a platform that allows them choice. So they have a mobile, they have plastic, they have NFC, various different ways that they can perform these transactions.
Okay.
If you think about SMS, SMS is a very good example. In the 90s, or the late 80s and the 90s, SMS was you were only able to SMS a consumer that was on the same network as you. So if you were with AT&T, the other person had to be with AT&T for you to SMS them. When SMS became interoperable, SMS grew. Okay, it exponentially grew, right? Because now it doesn't matter what network you're on, I can SMS you. Somebody in the middle does that switching. And that is exactly what MasterCard does. MasterCard provides that interoperable solution amongst all of the players, the banks and the telecommunication companies. And we do the auth, the clear, and the settle.
Going down a little bit of a different path.
Yeah.
Have you had any unusual partnerships over the years in the different countries you've worked in?
Yeah.
Perhaps to understand your customer base more clearly, that kind of thing? Any partnerships that somebody would be kind of surprised to hear about?
Well, I'll give you an example in Indonesia. In Indonesia right now, we're partnered with banks who have customers who have debit cards. And so these are customers who have a balance in their account. And the biggest challenge is that the debit card isn't accepted to do international e-commerce transactions. And so what we did is we've created a solution for them called a virtual card number. Using their mobile phone, they can now request a virtual card, so they get a 16-digit card that is valid for a period of time.
Okay.
They can then go onto the website and purchase something from Amazon.com, for example, put the 16-digit number into there, it debits their bank account, and then the 16-digit number goes away. So again, limiting fraud and risk on behalf of the bank, and the same thing for the consumer, providing them the convenience and expanding their world beyond Indonesia so that they can do cross-border transactions as well.
Speaking of consumers, have you ever met an individual or a family, someone that kind of epitomized this for you and you really felt like that's what we're trying to do? This is why I'm in this business.
Yeah. So if I look back in my past history, and I look at the impact that mobile money has had on people's lives. If you look at Kenya or where I come from in Afghanistan, where we deployed M-Pesa at the time, mobile money has such an impact on the lives of people. So they're able to go on their mobile phone and they're able to check crop prices. And once they check the crop price, they're able to say, I like the guy who's willing to buy it at this price. They SMS him. He M-Pesas the money over to the consumer, over to the seller, and then the seller then transports the goods over to him. So again, he's maximizing the amount of money that he can get, and he's getting the money in advance, which allows him to do a whole bunch of different things as well. So you can see how lives are changing from this versus a farmer who is selling his goods at the first guy who knocks on his door, who might be giving him half of the market price.
Right.
And if we think about this, we take it fast forward into a world of interoperability. That farmer, when he has different products, when he has MasterCard products in his wallet, that farmer now has the opportunity to interact and buy supplies not only from his local market, but from anywhere that sells it globally, and he now has an instrument, a MasterCard instrument by which he can pay for those goods as well, or transfer the funds. And so his world now grew from the village that he was in to, the world.
The world.
Yeah.